Real Madrid's decision on Lucas Paqueta, a strategic move beyond the pitch. Real Madrid, a club whose name resonates far beyond the football world, has once again demonstrated its capacity to make decisions based on long-term vision rather than short-term impulse. After several weeks of speculation and analysis, the Spanish giants have decided not to move forward with the signing of Lucas Paqueta, the Brazilian international currently playing for Aston Villa in the Premier League. This decision, which might come as a surprise to some sections of the media and to fans who admire Paqueta's qualities, highlights once more the philosophy that has underpinned Real Madrid's success in recent decades: a commitment to balance, sustainability, and the pursuit of excellence in both sporting and financial terms. The player profile: Lucas Paqueta. Lucas Paqueta, 26, has built a strong reputation as a technically gifted, versatile midfielder. Capable of operating both as an attacking playmaker and in deeper roles, he is admired for his vision, close control, passing range, and creativity in the final third. Since arriving in European football with AC Milan and later establishing himself in England with West Ham and now Aston Villa, Paqueta has become a recognizable name in the Premier League and an important figure for Brazil's national team. He is often praised for his ability to unlock defenses with incisive passes and his flair in tight spaces, attributes that naturally attracted the attention of major clubs, including Real Madrid. Yet, despite acknowledging his quality, Madrid's technical staff concluded that Paqueta's profile does not fully align with the specific requirements the club has defined for its midfield. The midfield standard at Real Madrid. For decades, Real Madrid's midfield has been the cornerstone of its dominance, both in La Liga and in Europe. The iconic engine room that has recently included Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, Casemiro, and their successors, Fede Valverde, Eduardo Camavinga, and Aurelien Tchouaméni, represents a balance of creativity, discipline, tactical awareness, and leadership. The Madrid philosophy dictates that every addition to this department must not only bring technical ability but also offer consistency, work rate, and the mental fortitude to thrive under the unique pressure of wearing the famous white shirt. The assessment of Paqueta was that, while he excels in attacking contributions, he may not provide the same level of defensive solidity, positional discipline, or all-round control that the club considers non-negotiable. Dani Ceballos, the internal new signing. A major factor behind the decision was the continuity of Dani Ceballos. The Spanish midfielder, who has spent several seasons with Los Blancos, has established himself as a valuable squad member, offering tactical knowledge, adaptability, and strong commitment to the team's collective dynamics. Ceballos may not always be the headline star, but his presence ensures stability and depth. His retention effectively reduced the urgency to pursue a player like Paqueta, since the Andalusian midfielder already provides solutions in ball circulation, creativity, and rhythm control when called upon. For the club, keeping Ceballos feels like an internal reinforcement that avoids unnecessary spending on external options. Economic and strategic considerations. Equally important is Real Madrid's financial approach. Under Florentino Perez's leadership, the club has established a model of sustainability, refusing to make rash investments or succumb to external pressure. Recent years have seen Madrid execute major deals, such as those for Jude Bellingham, Camavinga, and Tchouaméni, while keeping their accounts balanced, even in the midst of the ambitious Santiago Bernabéu redevelopment project. Signing Paqueta would have required a significant outlay, as Aston Villa, currently in a strong sporting and financial position, would demand a very high transfer fee. For Madrid, the cost-to-benefit ratio was not justified given the already strong depth of their midfield. By rejecting the deal, the club preserves financial flexibility for future opportunities, whether that means investing in a generational midfield talent or strengthening other key positions when the right moment arrives. Historical precedents in Madrid's transfer policy. This is far from the first time Real Madrid has chosen patience over impulse. Similar cases in recent history include Paul Pogba, who was heavily linked with the club but never signed, and Donny van de Beek, whose transfer from Ajax seemed all but done in 2020 before the deal was abandoned. In both situations, the club ultimately avoided moves that did not fully align with its long-term strategy. Instead, Madrid has often chosen to wait for the right player. That approach has paid dividends, as seen in the successful acquisitions of Vinicius Jr., Rodrigo Goes, Endrick, and most recently Bellingham, players who not only fit the club's sporting needs but also its financial and institutional vision. The immediate future. While Real Madrid looks ahead, Lucas Paqueta will continue his career in the Premier League, where he remains an integral part of Aston Villa under Unai Emery. In Birmingham, he has the platform to showcase his creativity, influence games, and build further on his reputation in one of the most competitive leagues in the world. For Madrid, the journey continues with the same guiding principles: patience, precision, and ambition. The club is acutely aware that Modric and Kroos, legends of the game, are approaching the twilight of their careers, and therefore a generational shift in midfield is inevitable. However, this transition will not be rushed. The focus is on identifying a player who embodies all the traits Madrid demands: tempo control, defensive awareness, leadership, creativity, and consistency. Conclusion: the decision not to pursue Lucas Paqueta should not be seen as a failure or a lack of ambition. On the contrary, it reflects Real Madrid's unwavering commitment to discipline, sustainability, and excellence. By avoiding unnecessary risks, the club positions itself for the future, ensuring that when the right opportunity arises, it will be ready to act decisively. For Real Madrid, winning is not only about what happens on the pitch, but also about how carefully it constructs the foundation of success. Saying no to Paqueta is, in that sense, a strategic victory in itself. Real Madrid, a club synonymous with success and prestige, continues to demonstrate that its sporting vision is not limited to the immediate present but also firmly focused on the long term. Within this strategy, the Madrid sporting department has once again turned its attention to strengthening the defensive line, a sector of the pitch that has been exposed in recent seasons due to injuries and the natural need for generational renewal. It is in this context that the name of Marc Guéhi, Crystal Palace centre-back and current England international, has emerged as a top target for the Spanish Giants. At just 25 years old, Guéhi has already established himself as one of the most reliable defenders in the Premier League, arguably the most demanding domestic competition in the world. Since his 2021 move from Chelsea to Crystal Palace, he has played over 100 competitive matches for the South London club, cementing his reputation as a defensive leader and a consistent performer. His growth has been steady, and his maturity on the pitch belies his age. England manager Gareth Southgate has rewarded his development with a call-up to the national team, where Guéhi has steadily earned international minutes. The qualities that make Guéhi attractive to Real Madrid are wide-ranging. He possesses natural leadership, a rare attribute in a young defender, and an impressive command of the aerial game, both when clearing defensive danger and when joining attacking set-pieces. His positional awareness and tactical intelligence allow him to anticipate opposition movement and intercept play effectively. Unlike the stereotypical old-school defender, Guéhi also shows composure in possession, capable of initiating build-up play from the back, a skill increasingly valued in modern football. He combines physical strength with calm decision-making, making him a well-rounded centre-back perfectly suited to Real Madrid's needs. The interest from Madrid is not without reason. In recent seasons, their backline has faced repeated challenges. Eder Militao, considered one of the best central defenders in the world, suffered a serious ACL injury that sidelined him for months. David Alaba, another vital figure, has also struggled with injuries. Antonio Rudiger's arrival from Chelsea in 2022 brought experience and resilience, but squad depth has remained a concern, especially in a team competing for every major trophy year after year. The need for stability and fresh energy in defense has made Guéhi a prime candidate for Los Blancos' long-term planning. The first offer from Real Madrid, according to reports, was rejected by Crystal Palace, who are understandably reluctant to lose one of their most important players. For Palace, Guéhi is not just a footballer. He is a cornerstone of their defensive structure and a leader in the dressing room. The refusal highlights his importance to the London club's project. However, with Guéhi's contract approaching its later stages, Palace face a dilemma: renew him quickly or risk losing him at a reduced price in the near future. The situation is further shaped by Guéhi's own ambition. A player of his caliber, at the peak of his physical development, knows that the opportunity to join Real Madrid represents more than just a career move. To play at the Santiago Bernabéu, to compete regularly in the Champions League, and to be part of a squad filled with world-class stars is the ultimate dream for many players. Guéhi has reportedly shown openness to the transfer, which adds momentum to the negotiations and may eventually force Crystal Palace's hand. From a historical perspective, Madrid's pursuit of Guéhi fits a well-established pattern. The club has a long tradition of identifying defenders with potential and molding them into global stars. Raphael Varane, for example, arrived from Lens in 2011 as a little-known teenager, only to become a pillar of the team that won 4 Champions League titles in 5 years. Similarly, Eder Militao arrived from Porto in 2019 with raw talent and, despite early struggles, blossomed into one of the most respected centre-backs in the world. Guéhi, at 25, offers more immediate readiness but still retains significant potential for further growth. Tactically, Carlo Ancelotti would benefit from Guehi's versatility. The Italian manager often adapts his defensive systems, alternating between traditional back fours and more flexible shapes. Guehi's ability to play on either side of central defense makes him compatible with partners such as Militao or Rudiger. His tactical discipline means he could be relied upon in high-pressure Champions League nights, where one defensive lapse can determine the outcome of an entire season. Off the pitch, the transfer would carry additional significance. Real Madrid, aware of their global profile, often pursue players who not only perform on the pitch but also expand the club's reach in new markets. Guehi, as an England international, represents a valuable connection to the Premier League's global audience. The English market is one where Madrid competes constantly with powerhouses like Manchester United, Manchester City, and Liverpool for attention. Securing one of England's brightest defensive talents would not only strengthen Madrid's team but also boost their visibility in a country where the Premier League dominates the conversation. Financially, the deal would highlight Madrid's continued ability to attract top Premier League players despite the wealth and competitive salaries offered in England. For years, clubs in Spain have struggled to compete directly with the financial power of the Premier League. If Madrid managed to land Guehi, it would underline their unique advantage. While English clubs may match or even surpass them in salaries, none can rival the prestige, history, and competitive allure of the Santiago Bernabéu. In summary, the potential arrival of Marc Guehi at Real Madrid would represent much more than a simple defensive reinforcement. It would be a long-term project, combining youth, international experience, leadership, and ambition. For Real Madrid, it would mean fortifying their defensive line for years to come. For Guehi, it would mean stepping onto the grandest stage of all, where every match is watched by millions and every trophy is within reach. Should the move materialize, the message to the footballing world would be emphatic. Real Madrid remain determined to lead, both in Spain and in Europe, and they continue to attract the very best talent regardless of league or nationality. Marc Guehi's potential transfer would be a clear declaration of intent. The future of Madrid's defense is already being built, and the Englishman is poised to become one of its central figures. The Vinicius earthquake. Real Madrid contemplates a historic decision. The third and most shocking piece of news rocking the footballing world is nothing short of an earthquake. Real Madrid, the most decorated club on the planet, is seriously analyzing the possibility of parting ways with Vinicius Jr. What began as a quiet whisper in the corridors of the Santiago Bernabéu has now exploded into international headlines. This is not merely a transfer rumor. If confirmed, it would be one of the most consequential and symbolic moves in modern football history. Crucially, the club does not view the decision as a step backwards or a surrender of talent. On the contrary, insiders emphasize that it would be part of a carefully calculated strategy aimed at safeguarding Real Madrid's long-term stability on three essential fronts: sporting performance, financial sustainability, and emotional equilibrium within the team. A brilliant but inconsistent talent. Vinicius Jr. arrived in Madrid as a precocious wonder kid, a raw gem from Flamengo whose flashes of brilliance alternated with frustrating decision-making. Over the years, however, he evolved into one of the most electrifying wingers in the game. His blistering pace, fearless dribbling, and knack for turning mundane plays into dazzling opportunities have made him a nightmare for defenders and a favorite of highlight reels worldwide. Yet brilliance often walks hand in hand with inconsistency. While Vinicius has produced moments of magic in the Champions League and La Liga, he has also gone through stretches where his impact was minimal, his finishing erratic, and his focus questionable. For a club like Real Madrid, which demands excellence every single match day, such fluctuations are problematic. Beyond the pitch, Vinicius' fiery personality and visibility in global media have created distractions. From online controversies to on-field altercations with rivals and referees, his behavior has sometimes shifted attention away from football and onto drama. While some fans see this as passion, others, and more importantly, some within the club, view it as a liability. Real Madrid's inflexible philosophy. To understand the gravity of this possible decision, one must understand Real Madrid's DNA. Unlike other clubs that may revolve around their stars, the white institution has always been larger than any individual. Discipline, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to the group are non-negotiable values. Throughout history, legendary names, Alfredo Di Stefano, Fernando Hierro, Raúl González, Iker Casillas, and even Cristiano Ronaldo, have left the club when the timing demanded it. The guiding principle is consistent: the badge, the shirt, and the institution come first. If a player, no matter how brilliant, disrupts that balance, the club does not hesitate to act. Vinicius, therefore, would not be the exception, but rather the latest chapter in this long tradition of placing the collective above the individual. The economic angle, a golden operation. Financially, the potential transfer of Vinicius could be a masterstroke. His market value remains extraordinarily high. Some analysts estimate upwards of €150 million depending on the interested clubs. Such a sum would provide Real Madrid with a massive injection of funds at a crucial moment. With that money, the club could strengthen weak spots in defense and midfield, accelerate the generational renewal of the squad, pursue a marquee signing to lead the attack in the coming years. Unlike many rivals, Madrid is committed to fiscal prudence. A sale of this magnitude would allow the club to maintain financial health while still competing at the highest level, particularly under increasingly strict financial fair play regulations. Dressing room dynamics and emotional balance. Inside the locker room, Vinicius is both admired and divisive. His intensity and passion inspire teammates, but his emotional outbursts and tendency to react to provocations can create friction. Manager Xabi Alonso, who is expected to usher in a new era at the Bernabeu, values tactical discipline, humility, and emotional stability. For him, team harmony is not an option but a necessity. By offloading Vinicius, Real Madrid could not only refresh the squad tactically but also ease internal tensions, reinforcing the principles of meritocracy and collective sacrifice that have long defined the club's identity. The fans. A divided Madridismo. Among Madrid supporters, the news has triggered heated debate. On one side are those who see Vinicius as a symbol of the club's present and future, a charismatic spark who ignites the Bernabeu with every daring run. They argue he deserves patience and time to mature, just as Karim Benzema once needed years before reaching Ballon d'Or levels. On the other side are fans who believe his inconsistency and volatility undermine the team's pursuit of stability. For them, cashing in now, while his value is sky-high, is the rational path. Social media is ablaze with arguments, polls, and even protests, reflecting the deep emotional connection between the player and the fanbase. The global press reacts. The international press has seized on the story. In England, The Guardian and The Telegraph frame the situation as an opening for Premier League giants. Manchester City, Chelsea, and even Liverpool could be lurking. In France, L'Equipe speculates about Paris Saint-Germain eyeing Vinicius as a potential replacement for Kylian Mbappe, should the French superstar move elsewhere. In Brazil, the reaction is one of shock. Vinicius is not just a footballer. He is a cultural icon and the face of a new Seleção generation. For many, the idea of him leaving Madrid feels like a betrayal of destiny. Who could replace him? Speculation over replacements is rampant. Names include Kylian Mbappe, long linked to Madrid, could finally become the undisputed leader of the project. Erling Haaland, whose goal-scoring machine qualities align perfectly with Madrid's Galactico tradition. Rodrigo and Endrick, both Brazilians already in the squad, could be given expanded roles, symbolizing a generational handover. Rather than a one-to-one replacement, the strategy would likely involve restructuring the entire attacking line to make it more balanced, versatile, and unpredictable. Painful but consistent. Ultimately, if Vinicius leaves, the decision would be painful for many but consistent with Real Madrid's philosophy. The collective always trumps the individual. The club does not chase popularity or short-term applause. It prioritizes long-term stability, institutional integrity, and sustained success. History has proven this approach works. Madrid continues to win, year after year, era after era, regardless of who wears the shirt. The potential departure of Vinicius Jr., then, is not merely a transfer story. It is a reminder of Real Madrid's unique identity, a club that does not bend to the star system, but instead bends stars to its will, or lets them go if they cannot adapt.